Hi. So I am someone that has spent a ridiculous amount of time working in restaurants here in New York City, primarily Michelin star, fine dining, private members only clubs, and all of these places really cater to a specific clientele. Celebrities, politicians, CEOs, royalty, even in some cases. And so the number one question I'm always asked when talking about a specific celebrity or notable is, well, what were they like? So I figured I would just start telling my stories. So welcome to Story Time. In today's episode of Story Time, I thought we would start with a doozy. We'll start with Gwyneth Paltrow, since she's been in the news a lot recently. She has the dubious honor of being my number one worst celebrity that I have ever waited on. She was wretched. And so here's the story. And this took place many years ago, I want to point out. This is when she was pregnant with her second child, and she was in her third trimester because about 2 weeks after she left the restaurant is when they had announced she had given birth. That is important to remember for this story. Third trimester. So they come in, they are a party of four. It is Gwyneth, two female friends, and a male friend. The male friend, like myself, is a Diet Coke addict. And at this restaurant, if your soft drink was empty, we would just automatically refill it. And so I just kept bringing him new Diet Cokes pretty frequently. So he's a man after my own heart. And by the fourth time I brought this over, she proceeds to yell at me. And she says, "Stop bringing him soda," reprimanding me. And so I try and make light of the situation because we're all caught off guard. And I said, it's just, part of the routine here. If someone's drink is empty, we refill it. He doesn't need any more soda. And I look at him and he is horrified. His eyes are real wide. He's like frozen still. Doesn't know what to do. I look at the other ladies. They don't know what to do. And so we all look at her, and she proceeds to launch into this monologue about how horrible soda is for you and the chemicals and everything that it does for you in the body. While she's doing this, while she's yelling at me, she reaches over her left shoulder, grabs the bottle of sake that I put in the ice bin, tops herself off, puts it back, and just proceeds to keep yelling at me. So if we're paying attention, drinking alcohol while pregnant, totally fine and healthy. Drinking Diet Coke, not healthy at all. Got it. So then the night finishes out. She was still married to Chris Martin at this time, so she paid with his credit card and tipped 15%. Now, a couple of little disclaimers before people start going crazy in the comment section. Number one, in the state of New York, if you are of legal drinking age and pregnant and you ask for alcohol, it is our job to give it to you. No questions asked. Otherwise, it is considered discrimination and we can be sued. I understand that people have very strong opinions about this. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. You are entitled to your feelings. But if you have an issue with this policy, I suggest you take it up with the state of New York. We were just doing our job. It is not our job to tell a pregnant person what they can and cannot have. They are responsible for their body, not us. That is number one. Number two, it is important to note again that she was in her third trimester. A lot of doctors will say the baby is cooked at that point, so alcohol won't hurt. Still important to point out the hypocrisy that soda is bad, but alcohol while pregnant is good. The joy of Gwyneth Paltrow. Number three, before anybody gets crazy and throwing the defamation word around, this is not gossip. This is not rumor. This is not alleged. I was her server. She ordered the sake from me. I brought her the sake. I opened it. I poured it. I put it in the ice bucket, and I watched her refill her glass while she yelled at me about the horrors of Diet Coke. This is not alleged. This happened, and I was the server. This is just me communicating what it was like for me this particular night at work, waiting on this particular celebrity. So if you have any other celebrities that you guys want to know how they behaved in a restaurant, just pop it in the comment section. As long as I haven't signed a confidentiality agreement, and yes, there are restaurants that do make you sign a confidentiality agreement, and I had to do so specifically with certain members of the royal family. If I haven't signed that agreement, I'm happy to tell you whatever I know. And I would like to point out that 95% of the celebrities and notables, politicians, etc., are all fantastic. They're really most of them were lovely. It's just there are a handful that are really vile and wretched, and Gwyneth just happens to be one of them. So that's it for story time today. I'll see you soon. Cheers.